Greetings. This is Wanda. This is Diaspora Connect. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to say thank you to my faithful subscribers. Welcome back. Thank you to my new subscribers. I want to say welcome to the channel and in the room. Yeah, so today I decided to do a video. I wanted to talk about how we as diaspora, Black Americans, African Americans, how can we, Hebrews, Israelites, how can we develop trusting relationships with locals? How can we develop trusting relationships with locals? I was thinking about that, and there are some things that we can do. As you can see, a short break. My hair is growing, you guys. I'm very pleased. This is coming out there. So I'm just, yeah, just excited because it's growing and my fro is getting bigger. So, okay, so back to the topic. So, how can we develop good relationships with locals, continental Africans or locals, local Africans or locals in whatever country you decide to uh, relocate to? Because a lot of us Black Americans are leaving the West for other countries because we see that the grass is greener on the other side, and so we are deciding that we want to leave the plantation in America and we want to come back to either Mama Africa, the continent, or other countries. A lot of us are going to, Thailand, Panama, Dominican, different places, Barbados, Jamaica. So that being said, how do we as I would say outsiders, because of the passport that we carry and that we were born outside of Africa, how do we develop or cultivate relationships with the locals in whatever country you decide to go to? So specifically, I'm talking about on the continent of Africa. Since I'm in Africa, I'm in Tanzania. Been here since 2020. This year makes 5 years living in the motherland, living in Tanzania, Africa, and Tanzania. I'm in Dar es Salaam. So yeah, all is well. Love this place. Love, love, love it. I'm thriving here. I'm happy here. I'm healthy here. I'm doing business here. So, and I'm gonna plug my business first, and then we'll get into the topic. Diaspora Connect LLC was created in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. It's a consultation business slash tourism slash education business. And so I assist those who are in the Western countries and you are interested in relocating or repatriating or expatriating or immigrating to specifically Tanzania. This information that I share on my channel is helpful throughout the entire continent, through any African country you go to. But this, I consult specifically with Tanzania since I live here and I've been here at this point. So I do relocation consultations, travel, and business. So in the business consultations, I share with you information on how you can set up a business. I did basically, and I give you the general gist of how you need to do it and how I did it. Business is done differently here in Tanzania than in America. The processes are different, time frames are different. Everything is different. It's like a different world. So you do need to be aware, have some kind of idea of how businesses run here and how things are set up here to protect you as a foreigner, you and your assets as a foreigner or a person born outside of. So I share those informations, as well as I can refer you to my attorney if you are interested in, registering a company. So. But anyway, let's get back to the topic. How can we cultivate relationships or build relationships with locals, specifically in Africa? There is a process that you should have in your mind that you want to take or walk through or complete. a process. So just like in the West, when you meet someone and you're just trying to get to know them, so you might go out for tea, you might go out for coffee, you talk on the phone, you do a little tossing ideas back and forth. So it's a part of you getting to know a person, just like you would get to know someone in a relationship. If you are dating someone in a relationship and you're trying to get to know them, so you spend time with them, you call them on the phone, you go out with them, you go to different places to see how they act in certain environments, see how they conduct themselves. You might meet their family to see what type of upbringing they have, what type of parents did they have, where do they live, where do their parents live, their values, their beliefs, their spiritual practice, everything about that person, their history, of previous relationships and previous marriages and children. So you try to find all this information out about this specific person that you want to marry, date, and whatever, a potential candidate. The same thing that you do in relationships, you must do in finding a relationship in the West. You must do that here as well. Here on the continent, you have to get to know locals a little bit more personally if you plan to do business with them. So it's not ideal or wise for you to not know the person and make plans outside of the country before you come, in terms of creating a business, in terms of buying land, all that stuff. It's best to come to that place, boots on the ground, uh, visit, meet that person, go out for lunch or breakfast or dinner, tea, coffee, talk to that person. Spend a little bit of time with that person before you just up and say, this is the person that I want to do business with. That's the first thing. That's just like the first layer of scouting, kind of, sort of. So even if the person was referred to you, so for example, if I refer a local to you and they want to do business and they let me know, because a lot of them, when they find out I have a company, they say, oh, I want to, I would like to work and do, if you have any work or if you know anyone, let me know. So I'll take their number. So even if I refer someone to you, you still have to do your due diligence in getting to know that person. Because for me, I don't spend enough time with a lot of the locals that I don't like deal with on a regular basis. I don't spend a lot of time with them to get to know their integrity level. That's something that you need to figure out. And yes, you may go through several locals before you decide that this is the one. Even in your business, you can have a business hire in locals, and then you may have a revolving door. You may have to filter through a few until you find that right one. So that being the case, you want to make sure that in the process of you hiring and employing, that you still are active, that you still watch your supplies, you watch your monies, you control everything, you control the money. You have to be there. You have to oversee everything to make sure that your products are um, not taken, basically, until you find the right fit for you and your organization, your business, your company. And even then, you should always, always, always keep your eyes on your assets and your investments. So if you're building something, you need to be there. You need to be there every day. You need to be there every day or every 2 days. Or if you're not able to be there or watching, like if you're selling products, you need to watch. If you're dealing with money, like customers, you need to be there collecting the money. I see in some of the Arab restaurants in Masaki, Arab-owned restaurants, that they collect the money only. They'll have locals working for them, but they are at the register where the money is, and then the local will give them like the bill or the check for that table or that table, and then they cash it out, and then they give them the receipt to go take it to to have the person pay, then they bring the money to them. So you may have to do something like that just to make sure that your assets are secure, to make sure there's no temptation, basically. So you do have to run your business like that when you're on a continent. It's a little different from in the West. You have to basically oversee. I would see that, and I would come here and see a lot of foreigners do that when it comes to locals working for them. But I understand why they do that, because it's their investment, their products, their company. So they are managing it. They are the CEO. They control operations. They control the CF. They're the CFO. They control the finances. So they have to be there or have someone there. So that's another thing that I would recommend if you just decide to do business. If you could have someone else to help you oversee your business or your company, um, and not necessarily someone here, but maybe someone in the West, or someone in the West that you can trust, because that could happen too. So it's just a matter of setting things up to where there won't be any like temptation for anyone to be able to take anything from you. No temptation. So that's something that I do recommend, that you always are always there. Based on what I have seen being living here, and for me, I don't really have I haven't really hired people. I do all my stuff myself right now because it's small. So and if I do have someone to do things for me, they're not handling any money. They're doing something for me. So I'm paying somebody to do something for me. So if you have a company and you have a business and you are selling fruits and vegetables and juices and clothes and food or whatever you're doing, you have to be there every day, and you have to at least have someone there overseeing your stock, overseeing your company, your business. You have to, outside of your local, so you'll have a local maybe partner or a local manager, but you still need to be there, or you need to have someone there specifically because it's your investment. And so take that seriously. Um, and so it may be a revolving door for you in terms of finding the right fit. You may even have to remove a partner and add another one, which I actually did that. I started off with two partners when I registered the business in 2021. And then recently, the last year, I would say 6 months to a year, I replaced those two and I have two new ones. So you can always do that if you see that there is any integrity issues, any lying issues, any stealing issues, then you may need to go ahead and replace your local partner. You can do that. You can go to the attorney. You just have to go to the attorney and have them to do that for you. And they send some kind of letter or email to your partners and tell them that. So you do have to pay a certain amount to get that done. It's not that expensive, but it's yeah, I can't remember the cost, but you would have to do that yourself and pay the fee to get that done. Remove one and add another one. So that's another good thing, is flexibility, in that you have that kind of control, especially if you're the CEO and you control operations. So you also set your company up that way to make sure that I'm looking in this camera here. You make sure you set your company up in such a way that you control. You as the CEO, you control the operations, so you can make these changes to the company, to the business, to the company. Um, so yeah, this is information that I've been thinking about, and I'm like, how can we make sure that when we come to the continent and we come back, like you have a bunch of African Americans that went to Burkina Faso recently, and so went with Dr. Ericana, I think that's her name, Ericana, to Burkina Faso. And so I am all for us coming back to the continent and working together, building up the countries with our resources, helping to build it up and working together with our brothers and sisters, getting to know them. So just don't be so trusting when you first come. And just actually the whole time you're here, don't be so trusting, because you have to remember There is poverty, and sometimes when there is a country and they have a kind of like a high poverty rate, um, and not only that, it's like when people don't have stuff, it's like money means a lot to them. So, you know, for us, we struggled, and in America, we struggle, and a lot of times we didn't have enough, but we don't have that. For the most part, we don't have that level of money means the world to us. Yes, we love money. Yes, we want to make good money and be able to do things we love, but it does not mean everything to us. Some things in our lives mean more: family, relationships, love, peace, joy, all that different stuff. That stuff is more important to most of us than money. Money is important, but it's not like number one on our list. But when you come to Africa, because it's such a hustle and because you have a high amount of poverty right now, and it's getting better. The middle class is growing, especially here in Tanzania. I've noticed the difference. The middle class is really, the lower class is coming up to middle class. And I think that I feel like we did contribute to that in a way because we do buy local most of the time that when we come, we try to buy local. We use locals for, you know, things that we might need personally, getting our hair done and clothes and fruits and vegetables. Like we try to buy local stuff. Some stuff we can't avoid, so we do have to go to the big shopping centers and malls for certain things. But our everyday general stuff, we do patronize local food stands and stuff like that. I have a lady that makes a dress for me if I want one. I just walked around one day around the neighborhood, and I was just looking at the different local stores, and I saw a lady, a dada, who had a shop. She was making clothes, and we stopped and talked to her, and just did a trial run with her. Can you make this? And we started out small, and now she's really good. So if I want to have something made, I can get something made. So from a local. So this is how we patronize locals, and this is a ways to get to know the locals that you encounter. So it's not enough for you to ride in an Uber to you to go places and then you hear someone speak English, a local, and then you're like, oh, I can make that person my partner. You know nothing about that person. You don't know their integrity level. You don't know their spiritual practice. Like you have to know something about that person before you decide. And even when you do know a lot about them, like even in relationships and even in marriages, sometimes we feel like there are people that have been with people for like 10 years, 15 years, 20, 30, whatever, and they have a secret lifestyle. They have a secret life outside of that person. Excuse me. And that person has no idea that that spouse has a whole nother family, a whole nother life outside of them, doing all kind of stuff. So even in that, it's not a guarantee that you will find out every little detail, but the main stuff, the stuff that's out there for you to see, you will be able to see some small things if you spend time around that person. And yes, there is a language barrier, but even with the language barrier, you can see, you can tell someone that has integrity versus someone that lacks integrity. So, yeah, it's just ways to kind of, because I always say you have to have discernment, but I felt like just saying you have to have discernment, sometimes some people may not understand, like personally, physically, what they need to do. So, yes, you must have a discernment. You must be spiritually sensitive to uh, secrets that people try to hide from you. Sometimes you can feel certain things that somebody might be saying something, but you can just feel in yourself, they're not telling me the truth. It's almost like your discernment kicks in. Some people say it's your intuition, but it's your spirit, it's your discernment kicking in to tell you something's off. I don't know what it is. So never ignore that, by the way. And so, but there are physical things that you can do to try to help prepare yourself for partnering with a local and partnering with the right local. And once you partner with that right local, it's never ever okay. Family It's never okay for you to trust anybody with your money. When it comes to your money and your products and your merchandise and your assets, you must be there. You must be there. You know, even in America, we can get scammed, we can get robbed, we can get lied to, all that, right? That can happen in America as well. But because you are coming to I would say a foreign land, even though you originate from the continent, but they consider you a foreigner because of the passport that you hold, right? And because you speak English, right? So you have to watch your stuff. You have to watch your assets, watch your building project. You have to be there. You have to oversee it. You have to make sure brick by brick everything is going well. You may not be able to go every day, but at least every other day. Just keep an eye out. Don't just forget about it. Pay this astronomical amount of money to buy land, to build, and then you don't even go check. You got to go through the whole process, because one little issue could be a big problem after everything is built. If you were there at the foundation to see little, oh, this is off, or this is not, this is a crack here, this is this and this. Not like you're a construction person, but you're walking around and you're overseeing and you're looking to see what's going on. And the same with when you're selling products or items. When money is being exchanged, you need to be there. You need to be watching. You need to be there. You need to be there. Don't just trust your local to only be there. Sometimes you do have to leave. Sometimes you can't always be there, but just don't make it a habit of not being there a lot, because you can lose money like that. And you can very much go out of business because your products could be being, not um, it could be being taken. It could be, people could be stealing or scamming your money, anything. So just make sure you're there. Just make sure you have someone assigned to be there, whether you have a relative or a friend that you trust, somebody outside of just the local. You need to have someone else overseeing, helping you out, especially if you go back and forth. If you go to the West and you come back and you go back and forth, you should have a trusted diaspora, one of us that's where you're from. I mean, not only if you're from America, an American, but anybody in the diaspora that's an Afro descendant, whether they're from the UK, Jamaica, the Netherlands, the islands. Connect with someone that you can have a level of trust with, that you can see if they wouldn't mind kind of checking in on your stuff while you're gone. Don't just leave your stuff and trust that only the local is going to do everything that you need to have done. Uh, a lot of times that can happen, but sometimes it can fall apart. Because I know that has happened to people. So just be aware of this when you want to create a company anywhere in Africa, for that matter. You must be there. If you're building, you're doing a project, whether it's any kind of building, you must be there or have someone there to watch, to count the money, to get all the details ahead of time before you start planning. Make sure you find out, because sometimes they'll quote a certain amount for a structure and you think that's everything, but then that's just for a certain thing. It didn't include this. It didn't. So you have to find out, what all does this amount include? So you have to get the very details of when you're paying money for a building, or for um, any type of you know products or merchandise you're buying or equipment. You need to find out all the details about it before you pay the money, to find out what does this fee entail. Installation, do this, like if you need a borehole, does this include the digging, and then this includes the hose, and this includes with the pump. So you have to find out all the details of what is included in this specific fee, because here you can be nickeled and dimed. So you can get this high fee for this, you pay, and then, oh, that was just for this, and then you need money for this, and then you need money for this. So you can be kind of nickeled and dimed for every little thing. So you need to get the full picture, right? The full, it's different from the West because a lot of times they quote you a price on the full completion of the installation of something, right? They quote you the full price. So you know when you pay that amount, it's going to include everything. But that it don't work like that here. Yeah, it don't work like that here. So you have to full detail. Yeah, you have to get the full details of the amount that you need to get accomplish what your desire is here in Africa, just to keep down any arguments, just keep down any disagreements, just to keep down any issues. You have to have it all laid out and be okay. Be okay.